My little brother's secret hobby saved my life in high school. My little brother Tim was 12 when he started his weird hobby of recording everything on his phone. Every conversation, every dinner, every car ride. We all mocked him for it, called him paranoid and creepy. I was especially cruel, calling him Timmy the Spy, and telling him he'd never have friends if he kept being so weird. Then his recordings saved me from prison when 3 kids from my school tried to frame me for dealing drugs that led to a classmate's overdose. Tim had been recording for 2 years when the incident happened. He said he started because he wanted to be a filmmaker, but really, he just liked catching people in lies. He'd caught Dad saying he'd quit smoking, Mom claiming she hadn't eaten the last piece of cake, and me telling our parents I was studying when I was actually at parties. We thought it was annoying but harmless. Senior year, a kid named Marcus died from fentanyl-laced pills at a house party. I wasn't even there. I was home with strep throat, miserable and barely able to swallow. But 3 kids, Jake, Brandon, and Kyle, told police they'd bought the pills from me earlier that day. They had texts on a burner phone proving our conversations, and they'd even planted pills in my locker before calling in an anonymous tip. The police arrested me at school. The evidence looked damning. The texts were from a number registered to a phone bought with cash, but the messages used phrases I actually said. The pills in my locker matched the ones that killed Marcus. Jake, Brandon, and Kyle all had matching stories about buying from me in the parking lot at exactly 3:15 p.m. the previous day. My parents got me a lawyer, but even she said it looked bad. 3 witnesses, physical evidence, and digital proof. I was looking at manslaughter charges and 20 years in prison. I knew I was innocent, but I couldn't prove I was homesick at 3:15 p.m. My parents had been at work, and I'd been alone. That's when Tim came to my room with his laptop. "I can prove you didn't do it," he said quietly. For 2 years, he'd been recording everything, including our house's common areas with old phones he'd set up as security cameras. He had audio of me groaning on the couch all day, throwing up in the bathroom, and most importantly, calling out to Mom to bring me medicine at exactly 3:15 p.m., the time I was supposedly selling drugs in the school parking lot. But Tim had more. He'd been in the school parking lot that day for his middle school soccer practice at the adjacent field. He'd been recording his friends doing tricks when he accidentally caught Jake, Brandon, and Kyle in the background. The timestamp showed 3:15 p.m. They were alone, no drug deal, no me. They were actually laughing and high-fiving about something. Tim had even more evidence. A week before Marcus died, Tim had been recording at a restaurant when Jake, Brandon, and Kyle were at the next table. They didn't notice the 12-year-old kid with his phone propped up. Their conversation was clear. They were planning to start dealing but needed someone to take the fall if anything went wrong. They mentioned targeting me because I thought I was better than everyone for not partying with them. The police initially didn't want to accept Tim's recordings as evidence, but our lawyer successfully argued they were admissible. The timestamp metadata proved they hadn't been tampered with. When confronted with the recordings, Brandon broke first. He admitted they'd been dealing for months, got a bad batch, and panicked when Marcus died. They'd chosen me because I was a good student who'd never been in trouble. Police would believe I'd hidden my dealing well. All 3 were arrested. Jake and Kyle got 15 years for manslaughter and conspiracy. Brandon got 8 years for testifying against them. They'd killed Marcus with their bad drugs, then tried to destroy my life to save themselves. Tim's recordings also caught something else. The vice principal had been taking bribes to keep certain kids' disciplinary records clean. That's why Jake, Brandon, and Kyle had no official record of their previous drug-related incidents. The vice principal was fired and charged. Tim never stopped recording after that. He's in film school now, making documentaries about justice and truth. He turned his weird, creepy hobby into a career. I'm in law school, planning to become a defense attorney, because I learned how easily innocent people can be framed. I apologized to Tim for years of mocking his hobby. He just smiled and said, "I knew something like this would happen eventually. People lie constantly. I just wanted proof." His paranoid hobby saved my life, and I'll never mock someone's weird interests again.